Now, the second part of the passive is brand new, and I think I'm the only person in Apex who knows exactly how it works. Hi, I'm Revan the Nub, 10 times Apex Master. Bloodhound got a rework, and by the end of this video, you're gonna be an expert. I hate wasting people's time, so let's be quick. Bloodhound is now part of the RECON class, or he's part of the reclassed RECON class. So they reclassed the RECON class, so it's not like the old class. It doesn't matter. They changed what the class passive is. The new class passive allows RECON legends to scan specific beacons. This will show all enemy locations on the map at that moment, but be careful because the enemies know that you scanned the beacon and where that beacon is. Now, Bloodhound's passive is called Tracker. Really, this is actually two different passives, but one of them is brand new. Now, talking about the first part, this allows him to see clues on the ground. These range from footprints to abilities used to healings used. This will tell you how long ago that happened. The only real tip for this part of the passive is how to read the directionality of the clues. So if you look at two clues side by side, you'll see it has a bar around the outside that is ticking down. This tells you how long ago it occurred. So if you're looking at two side by side, the one that has the more full bar is fresher. Comparing the older to the fresher, that is the directionality of travel from older to fresher. Now, the second part of his passive is brand new, and I think I'm the only person in Apex who knows exactly how it works. So when no enemies are around, a white raven will appear. This will be shown prominently for Bloodhound on his screen, but also a white pulse will show on the minimap. If Bloodhound interacts with the bird, he will receive a 25% back on his ultimate and his tactical. You can also activate the bird by scanning the bird, and you will receive 100% of your scan back and 25% of your ultimate. It's like taking an ultimate accelerant. So after you interact with a tracking chicken, it will fly towards the nearest enemy or enemy squad. Now, the thing that some people might not like about this new passive is they may think it's RNG, as in it's random. Fun fact, it is not. And before I tell you that secret, you better like and subscribe, otherwise I'm gonna do to my cat what Anakin did to the younglings. So looking at this graphic I made, the center represents the nearest enemy. The blue Bloodhound symbol represents Bloodhound, and the white Raven symbol represents the Raven spawn. The minimum threshold for a Raven spawning is 180 meters. So if Bloodhound is within 180 meters of the enemy and moves outside 180 meters, exactly at the 180 meter point, a Raven will spawn. This Raven will spawn anywhere in a radius around Bloodhound of 50 meters. This varies a little bit by 10 to 15 meters, depending on the spawnable area that is available. Like if it's a lot of mountains, it may have trouble spawning the Raven. Ultimately, what this means is that if Ravens are spawning, you have a minimum distance of 180 meters from the enemy. So if you have no Ravens spawning and then suddenly one does spawn, you may be able to infer that there's an enemy relatively close by. This passive is way stronger than people are giving it credit for. Number one, it's like getting free ultimate accelerants whenever squads aren't nearby. On top of being able to carry ultimate accelerants, you should basically have your ultimate for every single fight. Bloodhound is also like having a Walmart version of Crypto. Crypto can scan banners to see if enemy squads are nearby, but Bloodhound basically is doing this too, just passively. Whenever you interact with the Ravens, you don't actually have to follow the Raven like on your screen. You can just look at your minimap. It tells you exactly where it's going to end up. You also don't have to communicate this information with your teammates. It will be on their minimap as well. Another important note about using this for information is that if a Raven spawns and you don't interact with it and you're not moving around, maybe you're hanging out in a building, and an enemy team comes within the 250 meter radius, that Raven will not disappear. So only at the point where Ravens are spawning can you make any inference about the location of enemy teams. So there are chevrons that ends in the bird on the minimap that points in the direction of the enemies, right? The number of chevrons is actually proportional to how far away the enemy is. If you see 7 chevrons, that means they are somewhere greater than 200 meters away from you. Now, if you see less than 7 chevrons, that means that the enemy is relatively close. It seems semi-proportional. So basically, if you aren't seeing 7 chevrons, the enemy is within 200 meters of you. Bloodhound's tactical is Eye of the Allfather. Most people just call it scan or blood scan. With the season 16 update, this was changed. So now it will give you a full body scan for about a second, and then after that, it will show a diamond for the next few seconds. Really, this doesn't affect Bloodhound all that much. You're still gonna know where your enemies are at for 3 seconds after the scan. This scan will also reveal all traps, clues in front of you, and loot ticks if they are available on. Now, tips. This is a pretty straightforward ability. The biggest mistake that you can make is not scanning enough. You'll be surprised at how much it saves you by scanning more often and catching enemies off guard. Also, you should scan at the start of fights to get the lay of the land and let your whole team know where all the enemies are. However, if you plan on using your ultimate at all during that fight, then do not scan. I'm going to talk about this more in the ultimate section. Bloodhound's ultimate is called Beast of the Hunt. When activated, they will have thermal vision, be 30% faster, and a white raven will instantly be spawned. So tips for this. Number one, this is a great ability. You will see your enemies more clearly, and more importantly, you're going to be fast as f. Your strafe speed will be insane, and it's going to be very difficult to hit you. This also synergizes well with SMGs, shotguns, and pistols because the strafe speed when ADS on those are very fast. So if you're in a close range situation, you are going to be really difficult to deal with. Another tip for this is do not hold on to it. When Bloodhound interacts with ravens, it's like getting an ultimate accelerant. On top of, you can find ultimate accelerants. You should have this available for most fights during the game, and holding on to it is just going to lower your survivability overall. Now, the part that I talked about earlier, you release a raven whenever you go into ult. This raven will fly towards the nearest enemy. You should scan then. The reason for this is you're going to scan that raven that is flying through the air, and you are going to get your scan back fully refunded. So it's like getting a free scan. And also when you're in ult and you scan that raven, you're going to get a 25% ult refund. So you are already cooling down your ult for the next time. Now, this is very different than how it worked in the past. In the past, when you were in Bloodhound ult, all the things I previously talked about except for the raven were true. On top of this, it lowered your scan cooldown in the ultimate. So you actually wanted to scan first, then ult, and then your scan's going to be on a very low cooldown, and that will maximize your scans. But that is no longer the case. You no longer receive a lower cooldown in your ult for scans. So you're going to have less scans overall, but you're still going to have all the other benefits. The other thing that used to be part of the ultimate is whenever you got a down or a kill, it would increase the time that you can stay in the ultimate. So you could conceivably stay in the ult for a very long time. This is no longer true. It is a static amount of time that you get in the ultimate, but I think it's fair enough. I hope you know how to use Bloodhound effectively now with this guide, and your information about him has improved. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you next time.